Let us move straight on to our first speaker. I must say, we are truly delighted that she's here today because I cannot begin to underestimate how busy she must be. She is the former Minister of State for Digital Culture, DCMS, and also an MP for Gosport. And she's been a long-term supporter of We Are the City and We Are Tech Women since about 2016, I'm told. We're delighted that she's here today to open the conference as our first keynote speaker. Please welcome to the stage Dame Caroline Dinenage. Thank you very much. Good morning.
God, I had better hair that day, didn't I? Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see you all. Can I just say, first of all, I work across the road in that big, sort of quite elderly building across the road, and I never look around a room and see the dynamics like this. It never smells quite as good as this either. So welcome to you all. I'm Caroline Dinenage. As you can see, I've been a Member of Parliament for about 12 years now. Over that period, about 9 years in various government roles, 7 years as a minister. Most recently, the Minister of State for Digital and Culture. So in the digital role, I was responsible for everything tech, AI, digital, of course, things like misinformation and disinformation during the pandemic, things like the online safety bill, which came back to Parliament yesterday. But I don't come from a political background. I come from a nice, normal business background. I started my first business when I was 19. I ran it for 20 years before I became an MP. So I like to think of myself as a businesswoman trapped in a politician's body, or maybe the other way around, I don't know. But certainly, everything I've ever done in business has influenced everything I've ever done in politics. And every government department I was ever working in, I sort of tried to approach it with that kind of small business mentality and that attention to detail. So, well, it does mean I have first-hand experience of some of the challenges women face. I was something like the 307th woman to ever be elected into Parliament. When you consider there's 650 MPs, that means on the day I was elected, there were still more men currently sitting in Parliament than had ever been women. So I have a little bit of an understanding. It's almost as if I'm pathologically attracted to industries where I'm in the minority. So I understand how it feels to face barriers in business and in technology and in politics. And I'm really delighted to be here because I am Vanessa's sort of personal political stalker. I'm a great fan of everything she does through We Are Tech Women and We Are the City. So it's a delight to be here today to kick off your events where you will hear from people with a lot more experience and expertise than me. But to kick you all off, we've all heard the term levelling up, haven't we? We hear it a lot. It's a bit of a buzzword. It's a little bit trendy at the moment. But what does it mean in practice, and what does it mean for us? Well, now more than ever, I'm sure you'll agree, we need our economy firing on all its cylinders. We're living in a very unstable and insecure and an unpredictable world. It means we need to maximise the potential of everyone from every corner of the country in every background. In my view, that is the very essence of levelling up. People from diverse backgrounds bring different experiences. They bring different ideas. They bring different perspectives. Why wouldn't anybody, any self-respecting, ambitious business want to harness that? Now, we all know that tech isn't just coding or programming or just for men. In many ways, we all like to think of ourselves as tech experts. I mean, I like to think of myself when I'm in control of my mobile phone as a bit of a tech expert. Apart from my mum, she should never be allowed in charge of her mobile phone. But it does extend to every facet of our lives. It's the phone that we use to communicate. It's the camera we use to capture our memories. It's the algorithm which keeps us hooked on those crazy animal videos. It's also the train timetable that got us here today. If you're anything like me, it's the app that enables you to remain able to communicate with your teenager. And it's even the weather forecast. So why do we still perceive the technological world to be a man's world? So we're here today to showcase how important it is to improve diversity in this sector. We need more women, and we particularly need more brilliant intersectional women, because a diverse workforce brings an undeniable wealth of knowledge and experience. So here's my starter for 10. To give female tech employees a voice, we need to show them off. Why would a woman want to work in, let alone stay in, an industry where we never hear from other women? That's why today is really important. It's really important we hear from others who are in the same sector. Women do work in tech, that's a fact, but we need to make sure that they are visible. And it's crucial that this happens from a really young age. So from the very beginning, we need to challenge this kind of concept that there are girls' jobs and boys' jobs. I mean, frankly, there are just jobs, but we know that there are some people who really seem to categorize children from the tiniest age. And that is why we need to embed much more STEM in the school curriculum from day one. There's a brilliant school in my constituency where STEM is literally part of every single lesson in some way or another. And guess what? They have an after-school STEM club. It's oversubscribed, and 60% of the kids that attend it are girls. So we then need to get your youngest, your most whizzy female employees in front of those kids. They need to be your ambassadors, not crusty old women like me, not the senior male executives. We need tangible, realizable role models in front of those children so they can see themselves in that role. Because if you can see it, you can be it. And if a young girl can only see geeky middle-aged male gamers or top executives working in tech, I don't think it comes as a surprise that she can't picture herself in their shoes. So there's a brilliant lady called Belinda Palmer who wrote a book called Little Miss Geek, and that is quite interesting and thought-provoking. She said, women buy technology as much as men do. It isn't a gendered concept. It's not a he versus she argument. Women are not less likely to put their fingers to a keyboard in terms of purchase and use. It's an equal playing field. So why, therefore, does it matter to a company if their team is 80% men and 20% female? If their consumers are equally weighted, why fix what isn't broken? They've already got the female marketplace, right? Well, consider this. If women are already buying products that are ultimately not designed with them in mind, think how many more women would become tech consumers if these products were actually made by them for them. The Harvard Business Review calculates that marketing to women represents a bigger financial opportunity than India and China combined. Makes sense, right? So I'm going to show my age now, but that makes me think of Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. Ever seen it? You know, where she goes into the shop and, you know, she says, I've got money to spend, and then afterwards she goes back and says, big mistake, huge. Well, it's true, women do have money to spend, and they would like to spend it on products that are made with them in mind. And so to unlock that potential, tech companies need to design software or gadgets with a diverse team behind them, thinking of all their potential customers. So part of pulling this together is about changing the rhetoric. Tech is sexy. Tech is young. I'm not talking about myself now, I'm talking about tech. Tech is sexy, tech is young, it's ever evolving, but it does need to sell itself better. It's not just ensuring that women have access to jobs in tech, but also when they get there, they stay there, because we are tech. Women's research canvassed the views of 369 women across a multitude of sectors, and it suggested that 1 in 5 women in tech are thinking of leaving their jobs. That's bad, right? And these figures are broadly in line with data across different sectors, but when only 21% of people who work in the tech industry are women to start with, it would have a significantly detrimental impact on female representation in the industry. So we need to not only attract, but to nurture and to retain brilliant female talent. And that's about having working practices that offer the right support. It's about mentoring for a start, encouraging women to move up through the work pipeline. It's about women supporting each other. Madeleine Albright, the American politician, said that there is a special place in hell for women that don't support other women. And I agree with her. We also need to, as part of that mentoring, we need to encourage our female colleagues to apply for those promotions. We know, sorry chaps, this is all getting very female, but I'll come to you in a minute. We know that if a guy looks at a job advert and it says, 10 different things, he'll say, well, I've got probably 6 of those, I'm more than qualified. If a woman looks at a job advert with 10 things and she has 8 of them, she'll think, oh, I haven't got the other 2, I can't possibly apply for that job. We need to encourage each other. We need to be each other's fan club. And we need to make sure that women are applying for those jobs. And then we need to make sure that selection panels are not unconsciously biased against women as well, because whether we like it or not, we do tend to recruit in our own image, and that's why we need to make sure that at every level we're doing everything we can to make sure that brilliant women are coming up through that pipeline. We also know that female-led businesses don't apply for as much funding as their male counterparts. Women-led businesses, though, are more likely to succeed. They're more likely to survive their first year. So NatWest, I think, have calculated that 250 billion could be added to the UK economy if women were starting and scaling businesses at the same rate as men. There's a lot at stake here. It's about also recognising the times of life when we need to go the extra mile to keep the talent in the workforce. So we know that whether we like it or not, women are very often the primary carer. We know that through no choice of our own, and my God, I know this for myself, the buck always stops with us, 9 times out of 10. So why is it that, for example, when women go on maternity leave, some businesses take away their work BlackBerry or the work, I'm showing my age now, their work iPhone, their work laptop, and don't have some sort of mentor or support network contact that's communicating with them throughout that process, making them feel like they've gone, rather than it's just a temporary thing and we really, really want you back. But that responsibility lies with the government too. So as Women and Equalities Minister, I extended the right to request flexible working. I introduced shared parental leave, and in the Department of Education, I rolled out 30 hours of free childcare to the working parents of all 3- and 4-year-olds. But there is so much more to do. Now, then there's the menopause. I'm going to have to declare an interest, but if employers don't put in place reasonable adjustments, they risk losing a cohort of remarkable women just at the point that they are at their most experienced and valuable. The Women and Equality Select Committee, on which I sit, reported on this, and they concluded this. Women feel unsupported at work. They're reluctant to disclose their symptoms, and they can be treated negatively because of them. This is because of gendered ageism. As a result of this, there is a significant loss of skills, knowledge and economic output as women leave the labour force due to menopause discrimination. It's great being a woman, isn't it? But we know that we have the skills to make it through. And as I said, levelling up is a nationwide, people-wide issue. We need more open and honest conversations about these things. We need the destigmatisation of these kind of gendered issues. And here we go, chaps, this is your bit. We need to see men as agents of change, which is why I'm pleased you're all here, because over the years, I was Women and Equalities Ministers for 2 years. Some of the most powerful driving forces of change out there are the guys in businesses. And so it's brilliant to see you all here today doing your bit as well. Businesses also need to have a really good look at themselves and their practices. The UK advertising industry did a census of the industry on one day. They got a snapshot of all their employees. They gave them a chance to share their own protected characteristics and their experiences in the workplace to help define how best they could recruit, but essentially retain the very best talent. My goodness me, it takes some balls to ask the questions that you might not like the answer to. What percentage of your workforce have a physical disability compared to the UK working population? Are LGBTQ plus people more likely to have felt uncomfortable in your workplace? Do those with mental health conditions feel that they can make their company aware? These are really tough questions, right? But they're the right questions, because only by asking this can workplaces become more inclusive, more diverse, and more representative. And that's not just simply the right thing to do. We all know that people from diverse backgrounds bring different experiences, different ideas, different perspectives. Why wouldn't we want to harness that? It's a no-brainer. Organisations work better when they attract people from the widest possible range of backgrounds and experience, and when they maximise the skills and the expertise of all their team. So our economy works better when it's harnessing the firepower of all our talent. And that is what today is all about. So have a wonderful day. And I look forward to seeing you all again at something in the future. Thank you very much.
Caroline Dinenage. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you very much.